What's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Let's talk about this Wilder Ortiz fight. I have to say that Wilder's weight has thrown me for a loop a little bit, but oh well. You know, the reason why I haven't really been excited about a fight that I should be pretty excited about. Sorry, I'm stretching. Is because I don't know. I just don't know if it's a real fight. It's so hard to know with Deontay Wilder. I think we could all agree that at least a couple of his fights have been basically set up. Uh, he's been very much protected, and you know his handlers have not shown a lot of faith in him. But he's a good fighter. The thing is that you know we don't really know how good Luis Ortiz is. That's first and foremost. I mean, he hasn't beaten anybody. Brian Jennings, Brian Jennings is not that good. He's not very good at all. And that's his best win. So there's that. There's his age. And people want to get all butt hurt when you start talking about the man's age, but you gotta be retarded to tell me that that man looks like he's 37. Maybe he is, but he looks old as shit. He looks older than dirt, doesn't he? So you could get all butt hurt and you could say whatever the hell you want to say, but we all know what's up. He looks old. He moves like he's old. He's slow like he's old. He's kind of fat for a boxer. He's fat like he's old. And technically, he's good. He's pretty sound fundamentally. He's well schooled, but technically, he's nothing special. He's good, don't get me wrong, but he does a lot of things wrong or seemingly for no apparent reason, like, him being a southpaw and fighting mostly orthodox fighters. When he's attacking, he doesn't take the outside angle, right? He doesn't get his right foot on the outside of his opponent's lead foot. He takes the inside angle, and it looks deliberate. And the way he does it, just I don't know. It's like he doesn't know how to box an orthodox fighter or something, or like he never learned the fundamentals when boxing, you know, an orthodox guy. And there are a lot of flaws in this game, and we don't really know how good he is. And he's been inactive. He was on the juice his entire career, and now he's off the juice, right? He's getting blood drained. I mean, the fight is in the PBC universe basically. So as soon as Wilder lands something and dude shells up, they're gonna jump in and stop the fight, and he's not gonna get a decision if it goes 12 rounds. Blah 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 blah. And on top of that, is he really coming to win? So Deontay Wilder's gonna win this fight. Okay. Luis Ortiz's best chance, and he has a chance to win this fight if it's a real fight, but his best chance is to keep it in the center of the ring or get Wilder to come after him. If he starts following Wilder around the ring, it's a wrap for him. Forget about it. He'll probably get knocked out. He can't do that. Okay, he sucks at cutting the ring off. He's got slow feet. Again, and part, him not taking the outside angle, that limits his ability to cut the ring off, for example, right? If you put your foot on the outside of your opponent's foot, he has to step around that fucking thing, right? So there's just a lot of reasons why Luis Ortiz is not as good as some people think he is. But if he could just be patient enough, not attack Deontay Wilder, but just let Wilder come to him and almost exclusively counterpunch. I'm not saying don't probe, don't pop a jab out there. I'm not saying that. But have Wilder come to you and counterpunch him exclusively. And if he does that, he will most likely win the fight. But that's not what's going to happen. Wilder's going to give him a lot of movement. He's gonna pot shot him, and he's gonna start chasing Wilder around the ring. And if he can't knock Malik Scott out, stop him. He's not gonna be stopping Wilder, and he's not gonna be knocking Wilder down like he did Malik Scott. Maybe he will once, but he's gonna have serious firepower coming at him, so that's gonna make him tentative. And Deontay Wilder, because he's got faster feet and better footwork, he's gonna get to the spot first, and he's gonna keep Ortiz off balance. Ortiz won't be able to set enough to make his power count. It's gonna look bad for him, man, if he starts following Wilder around the ring. So he needs to just sit his ass in the center of the ring and let Wilder come to him and just counterpunch exclusively. And if he does that, he can win the fight, but he won't get the decision. We don't really know how hard he hits, and he's going to be punching up at his opponent, and his opponent's going to be leaning back. Unless Wilder just fights stupidly, which he won't. He's going to be disciplined. He's going to be careful. I'm not saying he's not going to get cracked with some shots, but he's not going to get knocked out. And, as soon as he hits Ortiz with something, and Ortiz shows signs of, and they could only be psychological signs, or being affected psychologically, that is. If he shows signs of being affected by the punch in any way, shape, or form, physically or psychologically, Wilder's going to jump on him. So if I were Ortiz, I would play possum, and I would pretend like I'm affected by a shot, and I would try to time a counter punch. But that's an Ortiz that's coming to win, and man, I just don't know. So, but if he's legitimately hurt just a little bit, or Deontay Wilder's punch makes him back up and maybe cross his feet a little bit or get a little bit off balance, Wilder's going to jump on him. And whether he could follow up or knock him out, or just overwhelm him with activity, the fight's getting stopped. You know what I mean? So Wilder's going to win this fight, and most likely by stoppage. And there's just so much about Ortiz that doesn't inspire confidence. I mean, this is the most important fight of his life, and he came in to this fight in the same shape as he did fighting Daniel Mart. I mean, I know there's a lot of hype, and egos got these photos that look fucking photoshopped as fuck of Ortiz looking like, the best shape ever. No, he just, on the scale, he looked the same way he always does. It's like he didn't even train the way, he should have for the biggest fight of his life. So is he really coming to win? And I know they took away his PEDs, so still, like, dude, you know what I mean? And if you really are 37, you really couldn't whip yourself up into the best shape possible for this fight? Is he coming to win? Like, honestly, guys, is he coming to win? So there's just too much at stake when it comes to Wilder, Joshua, and big money fights, for me to think that the fighter that's been protected for so long is all of a sudden they're gonna roll the dice with the riskiest, maybe the riskiest opponent on his record, while at the same time a very low reward. And that's the thing with Ortiz. Like, he's not high risk, low reward. The high risk part is overrated. He's a risky fighter and a very low reward, basically. But he's not high risk, really high risk and low reward, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he is risky, but it's the fact that he's really low reward is why he's been avoided. But he's also avoided fights himself. Fights with guys like Ustinov that, and I know what people are going to say, oh, he's bullshit, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but he's big and he moves. So it was a bad style matchup for Ortiz, just like Malik Scott. You know, Wilder's not as good, and it's this Cuban fetish that people have. I mean, Ortiz, he's not as good as some people think, and he's, come on, guys. You're going to tell me that man is 37? Come on. Anyway, even if he is 37, that's still old. He's been inactive, not as good as he's cracked up to be. And everything that he's cracked up to be, he achieved while on roids. And now that he's off the roids, you know what I mean? Like, this is why Deontay Wilder doesn't deserve all this credit for beating this guy, because Ortiz, first and foremost, never beat anybody, really. And people saying that fucking Brian Jennings made shot Klitschko look bad. I mean, come on, man. That's just proof positive that Klitschko was done. That he was struggling with someone like Brian Jennings. And Brian Jennings didn't land shit in that fight, man. It was just awkward, crazy, fucking no boxing skill having, like, a football player running in and tackling his opponent and pretending to be throwing punches. Like, come on, man. Come on. It was just, ugh. That dude got no skills, man. Get out of here. Not boxing skills. Brian Jennings, come on. So average. Anyway, yeah. Even in his prime, as he was being hailed, the boogeyman of the division, Ortiz was overrated. Okay, a lot of his liabilities have been exposed in certain fights, and he's been inactive. He's off the pads now. The shit that he achieved was when he was juiced. Now he's not. Like, this just, it's not. This fight isn't what people think it is. And on top of that, he could have very well been. Look, even if you give Ortiz a little bonus and say, go after Wilder, knock him out, right? If you knock him out, you get, and they could very well do that in the contract. If you knock him out, you get a bonus, right? Just to motivate him to come forward and go after Deontay, right? Which would play right into Deontay Wilder's hands, right? There are many ways of fixing a fight that aren't even illegal to begin with. You know what I mean? So it's just, if it's a real fight, Ortiz has a real chance. He does. But it's going to be him baiting Wilder in and countering him, playing possum and trying to knock him out when Wilder gets, because Wilder will stay disciplined against Ortiz unless he sees a weakness, or Ortiz unless he sees a weakness. So Ortiz should pretend like he's weak, like he's hurt, like whatever, and try to catch Wilder getting wild with a hard punch and put him down at least, maybe knock him out. Or just have Wilder lead, but don't follow him. Make sure you're planted and ready to throw, because he's going to get to the spot first, right? Plant your feet and just pivot if he wants to move around that ring and just counter his ass. Like Guillermo Rigondeaux, Nonito Donaire. This could be that kind of a fight, except Wilder has a much better jab than Nonito. So Wilder's gonna win this fight, man. Whether it's real or it's a bullshit fight, like Luis Ortiz ain't beating Wilder, man. I wish he would. It'd be nice to see, um, the Cubans finally get a win in a big fight because they've been sucking, and Barrera, it's not looking good for him either. It'd be nice to see Ortiz win, get his shine, um, have to fight Wilder in a rematch. I'm sure he has a rematch clause if the fight is real, but at least get to be heavyweight title holder for, a few months and get a win and make history, right? Become the first Cuban heavyweight champion, as they say, title holder. It would be interesting, but it's just not in the cards, guys. However I slice it, however I look at this, it's just pretty to very highly unlikely that Ortiz wins. So I wish it wasn't so, but this is kind of how the game is played. Certain fighters are preferred, protected, and everything is done. Everything in everybody's power is done to make them win. And Ortiz is not good enough to be able to overcome all these odds and everything that's stacked against him. You know what I mean? He just isn't. He's not as good as some people think he is. And Deontay Wilder's going to win. And most likely by knockout. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for listening.